candidate, declaring he would never end up in jail. Details as the two leading parties, the NDC and the MPP, scramble for responsibility over a funeral in the constituency. At 8 p.m., I'll hand over to Beverly Broom to bring you prime business.
Economist Professor Lord Mensah has urged government to manage the economy well to withstand global shocks and stop blaming rating agencies.
Whatever happened, we should manage your country to a level where the global shocks will not have much of a problem when it comes to externalities of that sort.
At 8:15, Razak Bosba will join us with the latest from the world of sports on Prime Sports.
After days of search, police in Tamale finally detained head coach of Tuyumba Ladies for brutalizing female referee in Women's Division 2 game in San Enrico.
Details all of these coming up next. Here, stay with us for details. Remember, this is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Please stay with us. Now, government says it is working around the clock to urgently settle debt it owes independent power producers, or at least come to some agreement on the matter. The IPPs, who are owed in excess of $1.6 billion, have threatened to shut down their plant by the end of this month of June if government fails to settle these arrears. Should the IPPs carry out their threat to shut down, it could result in significant power shortfalls, which could plunge the nation into darkness. Joy News understands there are several meetings scheduled between government and ECG on one hand and the IPPs on the other hand to come to some amicable resolution. Joy News has been digging around the current situation, and Kweku Asante joins us with what we've been able to glean. Kweku, what do we know so far?
So, Grace, we know that the current energy sector debt, particularly in relation to the IPPs, is around $2 billion. More than half of this is owed to the independent power plants, the IPPs. These are the persons that the former government under John Dramani Mahama brought in to show up the energy supply. These IPPs have threatened since last month that if by the end of this month, government does not settle these debts owed them, that is about $1.6 billion, they will be unable to continue producing power. They will be unable to continue giving the Electricity Company of Ghana power to be able to supply. We know that is just 11 days away. Government had been working around the clock to be able to reach some kind of amicable solution. What we have heard so far isn't so encouraging. The IPPs are hell-bent on carrying through this threat, because not only are they saying that they don't have funds to be able to buy the necessary protocols that they need to generate, but that leaving government with $1.6 billion, having been in debt for that long, is not something that they can continue. And so in the next 11 days, if government does not bring the money, the information we are picking is that they are going to actually shut down the plants. The Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, in the address he gave yesterday, gave a certain overview of the challenges government is facing with independent power purchasing plants. And they say that they are taking some money from the World Bank. They expect that some money will be coming in shortly, and they're going to use a big chunk of that to actually settle these debts. What we know now is that the money is not ready. In the next 11 days, it's not possible that government is going to be able to raise this amount of money from the indications that we have gotten. So what government is trying to do in the next few days is try to strike some agreement and say that we are going to pay you this amount of money every month. Initially, government promised to pay $14 million every month. The IPP said that was woefully inadequate and that they expect something in the region of $50 million every week. Government has not been able to come up with that. And the assurance we are getting from ECG on government on the one hand is that they are working around the clock speedily to ensure that in the next 11 days, Ghana is not plunged into another round of doom so.
All right. Now, in that negotiation, government offered to pay $15 million to the IPPs every month to defray the debt over time. But the IPPs rejected the offer, insisting the government pays $50 million. So that is where the negotiation had reached. Now, in the finance minister's update yesterday, he indicated that some funds will be coming in from the World Bank, and it is expected that a chunk of that money will be used to pay the IPPs to avoid a possible power shutdown. Our checks also indicate that by the close of day Tuesday, we should hear the position of the IPPs on all of these ahead of June 30 deadline. We've been joined by Edward Barr, a member of the Mines and Energy Committee and a former spokesperson for the Energy Ministry. First, grateful for you for joining us here. First, 11 days to the IPP's deadline to shut down their plant. What's your reaction?
I think that my reaction basically will be that as a country, we should take their threat seriously. We should be ready to sit down and negotiate with them. At least negotiations, people will always have two different positions. I know the IPPs will be coming with a position. Government through ECG will also be coming with a position. And I think that if both parties are transparent enough, they should be able to reach some amicable solution to be able to resolve this issue. That being said, look, my brother, you see, if you listen to government operators and government spokespersons, and even some ECG people who are supposed to be technocrats but they are behaving like politicians, you will have a sense that seems to suggest that, oh, this is some debt that has been saddled, that the country has been saddled with because of John Mahama, even your reporter, John Mahama's IPP. My brother, this is a debt that has been occasioned as a result of power consumed. So it means that they have generated power. The country has found the need to use that power. And after using that power, and myself and you paying our electricity bills, government has not paid the IPPs. That is the simple. So this particular bill, which is as at May ending, which is 1.73 billion, is power that has actually been used. And the IPPs have invoiced government to pay. And government has been unable to pay, even though you and I, through the end user tariff, have paid. So 11 days, let's not treat this as a child's play. Let's not see it as one of the usual trends that will come up. I think that if even one plant is shut down, the country will be in problem. And so I think the government should take this seriously.
Okay. Are you saying that it does not include the agreement that your government signed for take or pay, and therefore even the power produced that we didn't use are part of these debts that we need to pay?
No, that's the point I'm making. Talk to the IPPs and they will tell you that this is consumption bill. This is consumption bill. So it is not the basis of maybe the fact that government, they had declared availability that they had power and government was able to take, so this excess capacity. No, this is power actually used.
Okay.
And this is power actually used, and which you and I have paid for it.
Now, what should government be doing then, especially in their financial crunch, to pay up or at least reach some agreement with the IPPs?
First and foremost, government must come to a clear understanding as to how much they are capable of paying and being honest with the agreements they will reach. So what it means is that if they finally come to an agreement, because you are talking about a debt that is almost 2 billion, you must find a way of paying the old debt whilst making sure that you don't accrue more. So that's the first point. So there must be an honest discussion between the IPPs and, or maybe through the chamber of independent power producers and what about government, as to how much they will be doing and the installment schedule. They should be honest with that. 2, government must immediately reinstate the cash waterfall mechanism. This was a mechanism that was put in place to ensure that going forward, that anytime ECG sells the power that they have received, it is put in a common pot, and that particular money is disbursed to all the various utilities, depending on how much power you have supplied to ECG. Government, as we speak now, if you talk to the IPP, for 2 months now, the cash waterfall mechanism has been suspended. Government must immediately reinstate that, and that is very important. And the third point, apart from the weekly payments that they will have to be doing, there must be a lump sum that will have to be paid. And I think that the government must see this particular expenditure as a priority expenditure. I am excited that government says that it is expecting some money from the World Bank, and a chunk of it will be used in the free part of this cost. Government must be committed to that and make sure that that is done. And last but not the least, my brother, a greater part of this challenge that we are having is because ECG cannot account for their power. As we speak, ECG alone, in terms of debt that they have accumulated because of losses, system losses, if you take from 2017 up to 2022, it's about 13 billion. Government must find a way of ensuring that they reduce their losses And that is very key. And last but not the least, I think that we must begin to start looking at our tariff structure to make sure that the tariff structure actually reflects cost. If we do not do that, we may run into problems. But in all this, I will tell you, government must be honest to the IPPs. And the IPPs must also be magnanimous enough to see how they can accommodate this, because the country cannot afford at this time when we are in an economic crisis to go into load shedding. Okay.
And as a committee, are you privy to the details of this particular negotiation between government and the IPPs?
Actually, the committee has not been briefed on that. All things being equal, I know that this weekend the committee will be meeting in Koforidua, and therefore this discussion will come up. And I believe that when it comes up, we'll then get the details. We may want to even get some of the key parties to give us a briefing. All we are getting now, is basically based on the various parties involved. Government, to a very large extent, has not also briefed the committee, and so we are getting this from third-party sources.
Okay, all right. Grateful to you. But just before I let you go, let me get this clarification. So you're saying that this bill is as a result of power consumed. Are we then to anticipate another bill that will contain the take-or-pay agreement that was signed? For example, power that has been generated but has not been used. Are we to anticipate that bill as well?
We have indicated that very clearly. And I have stated to you before that since 2021, if you look at the amount of the available capacity, which is roughly around 3,587, and our peak demand, that is around 3,400, we have not been paying capacity charges. So capacity charges has not occasioned. So it is not an issue of capacity charges, because we do not, even any time we really lose one generation plant, we go into load shedding. So currently, as we speak now, government since 2021 has not been paying excess capacity.
Okay, grateful to you.
It has not been occasion.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us there. Now, we have tried to reach the ECG and government. Both have declined to comment publicly for now, but have said they are working assiduously to address the concerns of the IPPs and to keep the lights on. We'll bring you more details as and when they come in. But in all this, President Akufo-Addo has assured the nation he will ensure the lights stay on.
I want to reassure all of you that my government will continue to work towards keeping the lights on, in spite of the global dynamics of energy pricing, because the alternative is not an option. We are not going back to do so. We'll leave that to President Mahama. I'm convinced and confident that our nation is on the right path. Despite our challenges and with God on our side, I have the firm belief that we shall succeed in this enterprise.
Now, to other stories, former President John Dramani Mahama is declaring that the NDC's candidate for the Assin North by-election, James Gyakye Quayson, will not end in jail, rallying constituents to vote for him to return to Parliament. James Quayson is facing charges including perjury and making false declaration, with his criminal trial set to take place on a daily basis from tomorrow. Speaking at a campaign debate, John Mahama insisted that the case against their candidate has no basis and should be voted for to return to Parliament.
Papa onye bonibia ne boni awaye ne se opese obefie ebeboa ne man opese obefie ebesom ne man.
This man has not committed any crime. The only alleged crime they claim he has committed is supporting this constituency. If everyone here was granted a free visa to Canada, no one would be left in this community. Maybe you would only have the chiefs. Due to worsening economic conditions, many people would have left.
Akani padudo ni na akọ na sa papa ya nyameshira no wo omurkrata bibia. However,
this man, who used to hold Canadian citizenship, has voluntarily renounced it to serve his constituents. Yet this government is making him regret that decision. They are spreading propaganda that any vote for him will not count because he will certainly be in prison.
John Dramani Mahama Gyakye Quayson Uncle prison and Uncle prison.
I, John Mahama, stand here to refute those claims and say that James Gyakye Quayson will never be in prison. But those who call for his imprisonment rather will be the ones to be jailed.
And the candidate himself, James Quayson, says he has become a victim of the equal numbers in the House, insisting his current predicament is due to the governing party, the MPP's effort to go all extent to reduce the NDC's numbers in Parliament.
Very surprising and strange to me that we preach one thing and we do the other. We talk about democracy, but we don't respect the choice of the people. This we all know in 2020 December, I want this election fair and clear. And then there's been maneuvering due to the imbalance, the status of the parliament or the legislature right now. They all understand that if given the legislature numbers, if one side of the party was higher than the other, in other words, let's say NDC or MPP had 140 and the other had like 135, we won't be facing this. It is the situation of the House, because for the first time in Ghana's elections we had 137.
Yeah.
You know, but in a true democracy, you work with consensus. You build consensus, you work with the other side. In fact, Ghanaians spoke that they don't want one party rule to control, like give and winner takes all. That is why they gave us that mandate.
Yeah.
But it seems as though they don't want to respect the people's choice. And they will do everything to maneuver to reduce the number.
So how is the campaign shaping up for the NPP? Richard Anyagba is Communications Director for the party, and he joins us live on the phone lines now. Grateful to you for joining us here. Now, it's barely a week to the election. How is your campaign shaping up?
Grace, are you speaking with me now?
Yes, I am with you, sir.
Okay, thank you kindly. Well, the campaign, as you can hear, as we speak, I'm at a campaign rally at the Daboya. Speaking right now is Honorable Kennedy Japan. And you need to come and see the enthusiasm, the drive of the people. We come here with a simple message that the NDC is here in Assin North, misleading people with lies and propaganda. But we have come to speak about the developments that we have brought to the people and our commitment to bring further development. So we are canvassing to say that on account of what we have done and what we are committed to doing, they should vote for our candidate, who is Mr. Charles Opoku, to become the next MP of Assin North, to deliver the development we promised, which we have started, and we hope that by this election you will continue to do more for the good people of Assin North. So the campaign here in Assin North is going very well, and we are very confident that on the 27th, victory will be the MPP.
Most of your campaign or campaigns are not really online. When people search about the campaigns happening, they don't see anything. Is it that you're doing an underground campaign, or what really is it?
Well, I'm not sure if I hear your question. You're saying that are we doing an underground campaign?
Yeah, most people cannot see a lot of activities from your party in the Assin North constituency. So what's happening?
Well, I just indicated to you. What time is this? About 7? 7:15. We are at a campaign event, very well attended campaign event, and this is not the only one of its kind where our team is split. So as we speak, this same mini rally is happening in other areas. We have a total of 18 zones that we're working with. In all those zones, you have campaign mini rallies going on. When we finish from here, we're heading to our next stop in Kufia, and we are meeting a similar group of people to have a mini rally. We have a very full schedule, and those who cannot see are perhaps not here in Assin North, but the people of Assin North, the good people of Assin North, are feeling the presence of the New Patriotic Party, and we are all over the place seeking their mandate. So the MPP will go back to Parliament, represented by Charles Opoku, to bring development to the good people of Assin North. So we are very much on the ground.
I'm grateful to you, Richard Ahiaba, for joining us here. Meanwhile, the Central Regional Chairman of the NDC, Professor Richard Kofi Asiedu, says the party will work with the family of a party member who died in an accident during President Mohammed's campaign at Assin Dansame last weekend to give her a befitting burial. The woman in question died in a vehicular accident involved a party pickup which was conveying party members from Assin Dansame to Assin Breku.
Dansame before then or MPP area. But honor done it is here NDC. Euphoria ni ecstasy ni did no year call. If you
Dansame used to be a stronghold of the MPP, but it has now turned to the NDC. The euphoria was just too much when we were there. It was at that time that some called that a pickup that came to help us had moved with about 35 people. So it lost balance and some assaulted, resulting in one person losing her life. But His Excellency John Mahama has led us to meet with the family, and we will do everything with them for the burial ceremony.
35. The pick up in stability and I done and we prepare, but only one casualty turner or a being. So far as minimum sanity, but His Excellency Mampenda John Daman Mahama D and name my crochet Bushiana until Yasha said, Yenubusan Bekabumna, BBS, BBS part of the bay.
Meanwhile, the Assin North MPP, led by the parliamentary candidate Charles Opoku, Chairman Wuntumi, and other party executives have paid 3,000 cedis to cover the cost of coffin. The team also promised to add packets of roofing sheets and cement bags to finish an uncompleted building started by the deceased.
50 bags of cement.
The woman was building this house when she passed, right? Tomorrow, I'll bring you 50 bags of cement. Our candidate, Charles Opoku, also says he's given 50 bags. We'll bring 2 packets of roofing sheets in addition. The children have to get somewhere to sleep, so we will help them complete it.
Let's stay with politics because former Energy Minister Boakye Jacko says the country is currently going through difficult times under the Akufo-Addo government. According to him, Ghanaians have lost hope in the party and are calling for a new leadership, a reason he has presented himself for the flagbearer contest. He made this assertion after filing nomination together with former Agric Minister Dr. Efriye Akoto and one other aspirant, Samuel Mbura, of our political desk, has more.
The flagbearer race in the governing MPP is building up and gathering momentum. So far, 5 aspirants out of the 11 that have picked nomination forms to contest the elections filed their nominations. Former Energy Minister Boakye Jacko, in his address to party supporters after filing his nominations, admitted that there are economic difficulties under the Akufo-Addo government, and that calls for a new leadership, a reason he has presented himself for the race.
The people of this country have supported it for a long time, and this is the time to make them feel that there is a new leadership coming, a new leadership that will turn the corner and make lives better than we see it today. These are difficult times, I admit, but all difficult times require new leadership and new thinking. Yes, the MPP, we've done very well, but I can tell you we can do better and we must do better. We cannot rest on our oars and pat ourselves on the back for what we did yesterday.
But Dr. Efriye Akoto says he intends to use the agriculture sector to take the country out from the trenches of the IMF. According to him, his 6-year service under the Akufo-Addo government has laid the foundation.
I can assure you, the same way I was able to bring agriculture to the front line of policy discussion, in the same way that agriculture will be used to take us out of the clutches of the IMF. Because the agricultural sector in this country has great potential, and we haven't even scratched the surface of it.
Meanwhile, Professor Konedu Apreku, who is contesting the MPP presidential race for the third time, is expressing confidence of winning this time and wants the elections to be based on competition of ideas.
I hope we will have a fair, competitive election. I believe in competition. Now, not just competition in elections, I believe strongly in competition of ideas. May the best ideas, may the best programs survive, such that when we would have been done and selected a leader, we can go to sleep, that the person knows what is going on, has the capacity to listen, capacity to lead, capacity to reform. Tremendous amount of reforms are needed in our country today. If I were president, I would start off with the government structure, and I would dramatically change what we have. I will look at our constitution that offers too much power to the presidency, and I will work to ensure that perhaps after 8 years that I would have left office, we will have election, competitive election in selecting regional ministers, competitive election in DCEs. Ronald Reagan, American president, said, "Government closest to the people serve the people best."
Nominations for the flagbearer race in the MPP remain opened till 24th June, and the remaining 6 aspirants have only this week to meet the deadline. Samuel Mbura, Joy News.
And in the studio, I am Samuel Kojo Brace. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break. Now, the Attorney General has rejected an offer by private company Big C Trading LLC to refund €2 million for the prosecution of Minority Leader Dr. Ato Forson and 2 others to be terminated. The 3 are standing trial for their roles in the purchase of ambulances for the state. The Attorney General contends the state has lost more than €2 million due to the purchase of the ambulances, which turned out to be defective. Legal Affairs correspondent Joseph Akable reports.
All 3 accused persons have pleaded not guilty to the charges, with the court already directing that they open their defense, as the minimum threshold required for them to answer the case against them has been met. Big C is the company government purchased the ambulances from. Richard Jakpa is said to have acted as an agent of the company. The company says the ongoing trial presents significant risk to its reputation, hence the offer. It adds that it wants to preserve its relationship with Ghana in order to advance its business interest. Ghana's Courts Act allows a person standing trial on charges bordering on economic loss to the state to admit to the offense and offer compensation. Where such an offer is accepted by the prosecution and deemed satisfactory, a guilty plea is entered for the accused, and instead of imposition of custodial sentence, an order is made for payment to be made. It is not clear if the offer is being made under this law or under Ghana's new plea bargaining law. The company wants to pay €500,000 upfront, with the remaining €1.5 million to be paid within 6 months. The state is being asked to release the 30 ambulances to the company and discontinue the case against the accused persons. Joy News understands the Attorney General's office has rejected the offer by Big C. Sources close to the ongoing negotiations explain the AG holds the view that Big C is not one of the accused persons standing trial. It cannot therefore make such a request. Lawyers for the businessman Richard Jakpa are, however, said to have written to the AG to explain that Big C made the offer to them. The lawyers explained that Mr. Jakpa was therefore forwarding the proposal for the Attorney General's consideration. They add that they have fully adopted the said proposal and have also brought it to the attention of the other accused persons, asking them to confirm their support for the settlement process.
Now, despite government's many promises of ensuring floods do not continue to wreak havoc in flood-prone areas, some persons say they live in fear at the gathering of the rains because every drop in their vicinity results in flood, affecting their property and health, aside the emotional torture they endure until the waters recede. Hannah Odami has been speaking to them in our feature series titled Floods of Trauma.
Another big problem is that of poor drainage in our towns and cities, which leads to flooding during the rainy season. It is time to deal with these long-term problems and find long-lasting solutions, and we're doing just that.
This sound of rain and its accompanying breeze sends many to sleep, snuggling safely and comfortably in a firm textured bed. For others, however, it is an announcement of despair.
These days, when it rains just between 2 to 3 hours, then we get afraid.
This has been Irama's fear for years. The gathering of the clouds does not bring she and her family any joy. They rather experience fright, confusion, and palpitation.
It is very painful. I must tell you how I honestly feel about this situation. When it begins to rain around 5 p.m. and continues till around 8 p.m., we all get anxious. We get scared even to put our heads on our beds. And yet we are helpless because we seem not to have any solution. All we can do is to watch the rains drain into our rooms.
An occupational hygienist, Dr. Roland Srebo, talks about the health hazards associated with the floods and dampness that Irama and others who are in similar situation are susceptible to.
And sometimes after the flood has receded, the damp environment can also promote allergic reaction that can easily promote asthmatic attack. So in effect, these are some of the things that flooding can cause. And let's not forget, malaria is also knocking on our doors after flooding, because after flooding we realize that there may be stagnant waters within our community, and this can promote the breeding of mosquitoes, and we know the mosquitoes are the vectors of malaria. So by so doing, malaria infection can increase during this time of flooding.
But Irama, who was born in this house, cannot move out. Her source of livelihood was mainly from renting these 14 separate room apartments to tenants. That is no longer an option because her income has greatly dwindled, with no one accepting to rent a house which gets flooded every time it rains.
Look behind me. I have lots of empty rooms which I could have rented, so I would earn some income. But I cannot do so because the rainwaters come in and destroy all the property of tenants. I have 2 rooms with a hall. I have self-contained. I have about 6 single rooms with each having its porch. They are all empty. Imagine how much I would have been earning from these empty rooms if I was renting them out. Yet, all these rooms are locked because of the rain. Recently, someone came to rent this particular one, but the rains destroyed all his things, so he left. It is really depressing, but there's nothing much we can do about it.
Irama is concerned about the hazardous impacts of the floods on her children and grandchildren, the mental torture, the inconvenience, and the health implications.
Just see these holes in the walls. We created them so that the rainwaters which enters our rooms can seep out through them. By the time I finish that work, I would be so tired. Sometimes Even after 3 days, we will still be collecting rainwater from our rooms. The rain seeps down into the ground, so each time we collect water on the surface, the ones beneath the ground then comes up. We keep collecting, so we don't see water anymore.
Acknowledging that not all of Irama's concerns will be immediately addressed, Dr. Srebor believes some of these measures put in place can at least mitigate the impact of the floods on their health.
We need to leave our compound greened. Why am I saying that? Because it's a fashion now for people to concrete their compound. By so doing, the water does not get space to drain or go into the soil. When the compounds are green and left nicely green, when it rains, some of the water will sink down and it may prevent a lot of them going. Because when we concrete our houses, our homes, it means that the water that's coming from our home is going to add up to other persons' own, and at the end of the day, that is what can result in flood. And we should also try as much as possible not to build on waterway.
From the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, I am Hannah Odame for Joy News.
Now, youth in Daboya in the North Gonja district of the Savannah region have protested against what they term inhumane treatment and brutalities by police against residents of Daboya. They marched through the principal street of the community to register their displeasure about police maltreatment, especially in the advent of the recent Lukula clashes. According to them, the police harassment have contributed to many of the men in Daboya living in the bushes now. Joy News' Savannah correspondent Isaac Nonya was there and has come through with this report. The group, led by one Sofo Tanko Bafaga, first gathered at the Wasipe Paramount Chief's Palace and later to the police station where they presented a petition to the District Police Command. Men and women, old and young, all took part in the protest with red bands tied around their hands and heads. The about 1 hour protest also influenced a temporal hold on businesses in the town as shop owners, taxi drivers and market women all joined in solidarity. The leader of the group, Sofo Tanko Bafaga, said they have decided to openly register their displeasure, among others, over the wrongful arrests and brutalities of their kinsmen by the police.
In fact, we wish to tell the whole Ghanaians that Wasipe traditional area, the residents, both workers, civil servant and public servant, we are all thrown in a state of anarchy. We have been met with torture, brutality, humiliation, and severe beating, all because there is an alleged vandalism of police station. Unfortunately, we in our view think that it is probably because of the incident that happened in the place that they are taking undue advantage of to carry out an arrest. We are not even perturbed about the arrest, but the idea of having to arrest them, beat them, is what we are so much worried about. And so we are calling on the good people of Ghana, especially the National Peace Council, the President, and all other stakeholders who matter to intervene as a matter of agency to salvage us from this situation.
An opinion leader in the community, Salifu Sulemana, cautioned government and the IGP to tread cautiously with the arrests and treatment of residents in the town.
And as I'm speaking to you now, still the police are in Daboya. For what? Are we animals? Are we animals or we are not Ghanaians? Where this thing is in Lukula. And if you go to Lukula, everybody will testify that Lukula is in Savannah region. And the land is for Wasipeura. So our problem is the way people, we are not animals. And we can't live with the police again. They should go. Because we respect them a lot. Why? Are we animals in Daboya? Or we are not Ghanaians? You see it. Somebody, they are not speaking the truth on our behalf. Look at how we are suffering. Why? They should leave us alone, to do our work. They should leave us alone. They should know that government will go, government will come. They should stop what they are doing. And we are all human beings.
The residents say they are awaiting a favorable response from authorities. From Daboya, Isaac Nonye's report, read to you. And you're still watching Joy News Prime. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with Showbiz. Welcome back. And Becky Beggs joins us with all the gists from Showbiz. Hi.
Hi, Bryce. I don't have all the gist. I'm still reading. Yeah, it's a very long book.
Okay.
And this has been trending the whole of today. And obviously, we cannot go without talking about Yvonne Nelson's new book, I Am Not Yvonne Nelson. As you can see, it's right here. Lots of revelations. First of all, Brace, we were at the launch of the event, and we had industry players speaking to us after the launch of the book, and here is their take about what Yvonne Nelson has done with this particular book.
Just as we filmmakers, we tell stories of our culture, our love stories, you know, our heritage. I think it's very important for us to tell our own story, of course, through a book, so that people don't come and tell our stories for us, so that people don't say, oh, we thought it was this or we thought it was that. And so it's very encouraging what she's done. And of course, I would encourage a lot of people to do it.
I mean, I think that with what we find ourselves doing, our lives are already out there. Whether there's a perception or there's none, people already sort of, you know, study our lives. So yes, why not? I mean, I think that, like Yvonne said, she was inspiring. I mean, the idea behind this is to inspire someone. There's a girl out there with a dream just like she had, and, you know, the blueprint that she used, she's hoping that the person is going to even follow and do better. So I think that, yes, why not? I would be comfortable doing that.
I am not surprised, because when I first met Yvonne, right after she did a Miss Ghana competition, and I was looking for stars for Fortune Island, my self-produced television series. I saw something in her.
I have to say, it takes guts. It takes it takes a lot of guts to be able to put it out there like that, especially in, you know, the kind of society that we're in. You know, we're not very used to that kind of truth, and so I guess that's where we have to applaud her, because Yvonne has always set her pace. You know, she's always been very different. She's always set her pace. She's always said her truth. You know, and this is what is manifested into the book, and I'm very proud of her. You know.
Yeah, I think it's something dope. It's something good to do, because, you know, people like Yvonne Nelson are superheroes, you understand? So a lot of people look up to, you know, such people. She's a very nice person too. So, I mean, I actually haven't read the book yet. I'm yet to read it, and then I know that there's going to be greatness in there. It's something though, but I'd like to do that maybe one day.
Before the onset of the book, she spoke to me about it, and I believe her honesty has paid off, because she's spoken her mind. You know, most often we hide behind the screen, and we don't let the people know who we really are. From what the people read, you could tell she was more like, should I use the word naked? She opened herself up to really say her mind as it is, and not hold back. I think it's something good.
Let me say congratulations to Yvonne, and I'm so excited to see her writing a book. And then I will have time to read the book and then and see what is in the book. But for now, I'm so excited and I'm happy for her.
And very happy for Yvonne Nelson. But there have been some reactions also to this particular book since it came out yesterday. That's on Twitter. You see, that's Amea
Deborah
saying that isn't this too much information? Inyanya actually has been reacting to the book as well.
So Inyanya is asking whether this is not
too much. That's him right there. So Inyanya said that. So Yvonne Nelson said, I cheated on her with Tonto Dike. Oh, wow. I'll respond to this. No go write book, But for now, make I go watch my new video, directed, just seen now. So that's it. Manasseh Azuri also there, bringing out his comments. You know, the book has revealed a lot of things. Well, one major thing that has been trending is the part where Yvonne revealed that she got pregnant by Sarkodie and has been asked or was asked to abort the baby, and Sarkodie leaving her, actually driving together with his manager to the hospital and leaving her there without, checking up on
what happened.
So these are all the trending stories. But Yvonne Nelson, really, what inspired this book?
Life inspired the book.
And why do you think this is the time for you to actually put it out there?
I want people to get a copy of the book. They would understand why this book is so important to me and why I had to write this book.
Now, talking to some of your colleagues, I asked them if they were privy to some of these stories you shared in the book, and they said yes. Usually we want to keep secrets with our friends, but you have kept these secrets for all these years, and now you have put it in a book and you're putting it out there. Why?
Just grab a call.
I mean, someone very close to the president wanting you to actually contest against John Dumelo. He was touched about the fact that you reached out.
There's a lot in the book, Brace. There's a whole lot of content in there. Sarkodie, actually, he hasn't really reacted, but I know that he's on tour. He kicked off his tour, Jam's album tour, in Amsterdam, and he's continuing in the US and Canada. So for those of you who are asking if Sarkodie has reacted or responded, well, we haven't heard anything from Sarkodie yet. It's a whole book. You grab a copy, probably you get all the answers that you need. But for more news, obviously, log on to myjoyonline.com. That's where you find all the news. We're out of time. We'll be back tomorrow with Brace again.
All right, but don't forget to brush your teeth with Pepsodent, because with Pepsodent, every smile matters. Up next is Prime Business with Beverly Broom.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Business here on Joy News Prime with me, Beverly Broom. We go straight to our very first story, and financial economist and chairman of SEM Group, Dr. Sam Mensah, has described President Akufo-Addo's criticism of international rating agencies as a poor representation of how rating agencies operate. According to Dr. Mensah, rating agencies are reasonably neutral and objective with the outcome. Hence, comments by the president will not deter them from doing their work.
If that is a criticism, then I think it's probably not quite representative of how the rating agencies work, because as I said earlier, rating agencies are monitoring the same indicators for all borrowers, including African countries. And therefore, they monitor and change their ratings according to what they are reading from these indicators. And mind you, there are quite a few African countries that have very good ratings. For example, Botswana has an investment grade rating of BBB, which is quite high. So I think in general, the work of the rating agencies are reasonably neutral and very objective. I think the rating agencies will continue to do their work, and their work is to certify the credit quality of an issue coming to the market. In many countries, including the United States got downgraded in 2011, and the UK got downgraded, I believe, in 2023 by S&P. So they will continue to do their work. I don't think they will be deterred by any such comments. It seems to me that international investors are looking for certification from rating agencies that have worldwide or global standards for rating. And therefore, I don't see it as something that is so easy to implement in terms of creating Africa's own rating agency.
Meanwhile, economist Professor Lord Mensah has described President Akufo-Addo's reactions to ratings agencies' assessment of the economy as uncalled for. According to Professor Mensah, government needs to manage the economy well to withstand global shocks and avoid blaming rating agencies.
Clearly, I think the president needs to appreciate that the Eurobond market is not a sustainable source of financing, a country. I mean, clearly, you cannot rely on borrowing to finance your activities. We should also understand that the parameters and the models that are used to come up with a rating has not changed. The only thing that has changed is the circumstances and then the country-specific problems. So if we look at the global exposures and then you look at the country-specific problem, put them in the model, whatever comes out is what is interpreted for the consumption of the general investor community, looking at Ghana and then elsewhere. So I think blaming the rating agencies won't change anything, because at the end of the day, you are looking at same model, and then possibly same input that is supposed to generate an output. Whatever happened, you should manage your country to a level where the global shocks will not have much of a problem when it comes to externalities of that sort. So if the country was to be a country where we've managed our economy very well, we have very good buffers, in as much as those global shocks will have impact, it wouldn't have been as much as we are experiencing now. So that blame on the rating agencies, for me, it's uncalled for.
Moving on, the World Bank has admitted that stringent disbursement rules made it difficult for Ghana to draw down on a number of project funds. It is estimated that Ghana missed out on more than $2 billion of funds set aside for projects because of the structuring of procurement processes to check corruption. But the World Bank Country Director Pierre Lapon says the bank is taking steps to deal with this challenge.
Now we are approaching end of the fiscal year. I'm pushing the teams to please let's make sure we disburse. But then some people will tell me, Pierre, there's so many problems in this ministry, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes when I go and talk to the minister, we find that problems actually sometimes on our side. Because of the procurement rules, stringent, sometimes cumbersome and long. And we do understand, and when sometimes countries, clients call it just takes too long. And sometimes they are right. And our role is to try to see how we can be more flexible. And in this context, there's actually an initiative inside the World Bank now. It's called the Evolution Roadmap, where the World Bank is taking a look at ourselves, at how we operate now, and in the next few months and next year or so, we will come out with a new approach. Not necessarily new, but we will see what is not working, how we can do better, and procurement will surely be one of the things that we will be taking in mind.
Now, the United Kingdom has today announced the introduction of radically simplified trading rules and a cut-in tariff on products from developing countries, saving UK businesses and consumers millions of pounds a year. The UK's new post-Brexit developing countries trading scheme, entering into force today, covers 65 countries that are home to over 3.3 billion people, and over half are in Africa. The move, as stated in a press release, is to ensure that more products qualify for the scheme, as well as benefit developing countries looking to diversify and increase exports, driving their prosperity and reducing their need for aid. Now, reacting to this development, West Africa Regional Director of CART International, Apia Kusie Domako, says Ghana can only take advantage of such international trade activities if governments consciously implement measures to create an enabling environment for private businesses to thrive.
I think Ghana, as we've been informed or we are all aware, our fundamentals have not been good for the past 2 years. And if we can improve on our export, it means that we can have enough forests to be able to support our balance of trade and keep the cedi strong against the major trading currencies. And so for me, I think this is something that Ghana can take advantage of. What we have to do as a country is to make sure that we create the enabling environment to allow the private sector here to be able to produce and export to other countries. Unfortunately, we've not done well over the past 1.5 years, simply because we have consistently been increasing our electricity tariffs, and also the other macroeconomic indicators have also conspired against the private sector. And so if we want to ensure that businesses stay and remain here to take advantage of it, export the products to the United Kingdom return their proceeds to support the cedi, I think that we must also create the enabling environment. Of course, government has been saying this thing for a long time, but I think they will need to do more to ensure that the private sector, they are able to export competitively. Just last week, for example, we learned that the Ghana Hoteliers Association have criticized the recent increase in utility tariffs. We are gradually making Ghana a difficult place to do business, and until we consciously make it to the place to do business, we might not be able to take advantage of all of these brilliant initiatives.
That's all for Business Tonight. We have more business news when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Next is sports with Razak Musbah.
Hello, welcome to Prime Sports with me, Razak Musbah. And let's start off in Tamale, because police in Tamale have arrested coach Idrisu S. Napari earlier this afternoon after he brutalized a female referee in a women's Division 1 game in Sanyerugu in the northern region. We understand the Tiyumba ladies coach reported himself to the police station after he remained in hiding since Sunday when he was declared wanted. He's now set to face prosecution as the Ghana Football Association and its Northern Regional Wing has joined forces with the police to ensure the coach is sanctioned. Say Mubarak is a sports journalist with Pangu FM in Tamale and is also the public relations officer for Real Tamale United. He's been following this story closely, and he joins us on the phone line for some updates on this very developing story. Say, thanks very much for joining us on Prime Sports. Can you bring us up to speed on the coach, whom we understand has been arrested? Which police station exactly is he at? And has he been granted bail or is likely to spend the night in the cells?
Well, thank you very much. For now, what I can say is that the coach, Idrisu Napari, this morning handed himself over to the police after 2 days of search for him. I think the incident happened on Saturday, and right after the case was reported to the police, they started the search to arrest him. Unfortunately, he actually went on hiding for the past 2 days, and today was led by some traditional leaders in Tamale here to the police station. What I'm actually gathering is the fact that with the situation now, he might not be granted bail until after 72 hours, meaning that he probably will stay in cells for the next 3 days. And the Regional Football Association, together with the Ghana Football Association, are putting, things in place, making frantic efforts, and giving every detail that the police need to be able to prosecute, the coach. The issue has gone so viral. It has caught the attention of the international football amateur, and so a lot of people are thinking that everybody should leave his hands out of this and allow the law to take its course, and that is exactly what we're looking forward to. We might be looking at going to court after the 3 days. That is when he's probably not given bail, because that is what we are gathering at this particular moment, that he might not actually be granted bail until after 72 hours, and we're looking forward to seeing that happen probably in the next couple of days.
I mean, Mubarak, for the benefit of our viewers who are not familiar with what really happened, can you help us appreciate exactly why the coach went ahead to attack the referee in that game?
Okay, on Sunday, fixtures for the Regional Division 1B matches. These are teams that are playing matches to qualify to the Regional Division 1 League proper. And so they divided them into groups, I must say. And this match was between Yumba Ladies, which he coaches and also as the owner of that club, against Soccer Missionaries Ladies. Now, this match was played at the Aliu Muhammad Sports Stadium, Sports Center 3. These centers have been created or constructed by the Regional Football Association to enable a lot of teams or matches played within that particular ground. And on the 38th minute, I must say, an infringement was awarded to Soccer Missionaries Ladies. And in the game, it is quite clear that when a defender passes the ball back to the goalkeeper has no right whatsoever to pick the ball with the hand. Unfortunately, Tuyumba goalkeeper picked the ball with the hand, and the referee awarded an indirect free kick to the away side. This actually did not go down well with the coach, who rushed onto the pitch, started having an altercation with the referee, and eventually started beating, holding her hair, dragging her. In fact, it took the intervention of a few of the guys who were there, but it was not easy at all. Over 10-15 minutes, this incident went on. But finally, she was rescued from a few guys who came around and was taken quickly to the nearest hospital, that is the Tamale Technical University Hospital. Well, she's been discharged though. She's in stable condition, I must say. I spoke with her this morning. She said she's okay. Tests were conducted on Saturday night. And I must also commend the police, because when the case was reported, they went to the hospital to check on her. And after that, they started a search to arrest, Idris Napari. But today, like I said, he was led by some traditional leaders. The belief is that he was hiding at the Chief Palace, and today he had to actually go there with them because of the release by the Ghana Football Association.
Well, Semabrik, thanks very much. We appreciate the updates, and of course, we'll come back to you as and when the story develops over there. That's Semabrik. He's with Pangu FM in Tamale, and he's also the public relations officer for Real Tamale United. The former communications director of the GFA, Sanidara, he believes the country must stop underestimating unfamiliar opponents in the modern era. According to him, despite the Black Stars' history on the continent, handlers of the team must look beyond that and focus on adequate preparation before games to avoid being surprised.
dynamics of football in Africa has completely changed. There's no country today, you spoke of Rigobert Song. Look at the experiences he's had as a player, playing for Liverpool, captaining Cameroon national team to the World Cup to helping them win the African Cup of Nations and all of that. And him taking his badges and becoming a coach. And look at the quality of players they have listed all over the world. So it tells you that, if Cameroon has a difficult result, you need to look at the opponent.
That's all I have for you on Prime Sports tonight. We'll be Razak Musbao. There's more on myjoyonline.com/sports. Do have a lovely evening.